tank. He's good at setting traps. Has crazy power that he believes in. He has a great chin too because he's a guy. He'll let you get out punches, and he'll still be coming at you. And then once he catches you, it's a wrap.
All-time greats. Crawford's one of the best switch hitters, I think, since Marvin Hagler, and one of the most skillful boxers alive.
He has very good skills. He's one of my favorite boxers. He able to win this fight.
Errol Spence was left stunned praising Terence Crawford's unreal training for Canelo fight. Having shared the ring with him, Errol acknowledged Crawford's exceptional ring IQ and elite skill set. Watching Crawford's recent training, Errol couldn't believe the speed, precision, and masterful footwork on display. Terence looked like a monster in motion, sharp, explosive, and laser-focused. This version of Crawford is a dangerous force Canelo cannot underestimate. When Terence Crawford reflected on his battle with Errol Spence, there was clear mutual respect between the two elite boxers. Crawford, known for his patient and cerebral fighting style, emphasized how he systematically wears down his opponents before delivering devastating flurries of punches.
How hard does Spence hit?
He didn't hit that hard.
Well, he never caught you that clean. That was probably the best shot he landed.
No, he caught me a couple of times, but I was surprised at how hard he didn't hit.
Really?
And given that everybody say, oh, he's a big puncher, he's this. I think he's just a volume puncher. I think he just wears opponents down, just wear them down. I don't think, he has a one-punch knockout. He have power, but it's not like, boom, sleep. I think it's like, bam, oh, boom, 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 boom. And then he just wear you down.
Right, yeah. That is a difference, right?
Because if you look at his career, you never seen him, knock nobody out with one punch. You never see him, dropping nobody with one punch. You always see him, wearing them down. That's why he goes so hard to the body, because he want to wear you down. Then once you get tired and once your body start weakening, everything start weakening. And those little punches that wasn't hurting start hurting.
Former world champion and analyst Chris Algieri brought a sharp perspective when comparing Crawford and Canelo Alvarez. According to Algieri, while Crawford consistently dominated his opponents and maintained control in nearly every bout, Canelo has experienced moments where he was visibly overwhelmed, what boxing insiders call getting bossed. One notable example was Canelo's loss to Dimitri Bivol, where Bivol's size, jab, and discipline dictated the fight. Algieri's point supports the notion that Crawford, though moving up in weight, possesses a style rooted in control, adaptability, and technical dominance. Traits that historically trouble even seasoned champions like Canelo.
And Terence Crawford, who do you think can be the boss that night? When you talk about these two guys, you talk about two guys, number one, you can't boss me around. Yep. Two guys, you can't even look at me a certain way without me feeling some type of way. These guys now have set their sights on one another, Crawford and Canelo Alvarez. Obviously, we know the weight difference, but we've seen Crawford, looks like he's coming up slowly to that weight class and kind of acclimating himself in real time. How do you see that fight playing out?
We're still pretty far away from that fight, and I'm going to hold my complete analytics on that. But I'll tell you this.
Contrast and compare. Maybe not a pick.
But I'll tell you this. I've seen Canelo pushed around. I've never seen Terence pushed around. So when you're talking about who's going to be the boss, I've never seen anyone boss Terence Crawford. I've seen Canelo get bossed. So that psychologically, when you think about that, and this is a fight where I flip-flop on both guys because there's so many good points. Yeah, but he's 168. Yeah, but it's Terence Crawford. He's undefeated. Well, yeah, no, this guy's beating this, but stylistic. Even he hits him on the arm. There's so many different things you can talk about. But from a psychological standpoint, who's fresher, who's meaner, who wants it more? That's going to come into play.
As a boxing fan, how much fun is it to see those two attitudes come together? It's kind of like the unstoppable force versus the immovable object getting ready to collide.
I've worked a lot of Canelo fights, and Canelo fight weeks are great. He plays to the crowd really well. His fans are awesome. I'm thinking about the Caleb Plant situation. I'm thinking about the Billy's Joe Saunders situation. When he gets that in his head that he's got an extra chip, he becomes a really dangerous man.
Veteran commentator Max Kellerman provided a balanced breakdown, stating that while both Crawford and Canelo have unique advantages, Crawford edges the contest when looking at recent performances and overall skill set. Kellerman highlighted that Crawford's timing, switch-hitting ability, and knockout power have peaked impressively in recent years. In contrast, Canelo, though still elite, has shown signs of slowing down, particularly in his movement and aggression. However, Kellerman did not ignore Canelo's size advantage, which could be pivotal in clinches and trading shots. But when assessing the totality of tools, speed, precision, defense, adaptability, Kellerman leaned toward Crawford as a more complete and currently sharper fighter.
Counterpunching. But overall, I have to say Crawford. If you go down the list and ask me about tactical advantages, most of them are Crawford. What Canelo has is size, and as a result, physical strength and punching power. Canelo also has a great chin. But in terms of, if you want to go skill for skill, especially the recent version of Canelo, who's had to turn into a seek and destroy guy, who had to learn as his career went on to cut off the ring and not just follow guys around. Like Lara, Trout, Floyd, he followed those guys around. He had trouble because he's really a natural counterpuncher who wants you to come to him. But in recent years at super middleweight, he's gotten really good at cutting off the ring. Again, last fight notwithstanding. So as an overall suite of skills, recent vintage, it's been Crawford. Okay. But Canelo also is skilled and has a larger skeleton than Crawford. No matter what they weigh, Canelo's the bigger guy.
Yeah. You briefly mentioned Canelo's power, so who I would assume Canelo has the
You'd have to think, unless Crawford, Crawford was on a knockout streak until he moved up to junior middleweight and then failed to stop Madrimov. So, and Canelo, though he has not stopped anyone in a while, we've seen he's a real puncher at 68.
As far as speed, who has a better speed?
You would imagine Crawford, given the fact that he is the naturally smaller fighter.
The dynamics of this mega fight are fascinating. On one hand, Crawford is stepping into unfamiliar territory by moving up in weight, which traditionally poses a risk to speed and stamina. On the other hand, Canelo, while experienced at this level, is no longer the same explosive force he once was. Recent fights have shown Canelo struggling to secure knockouts, favoring cautious control over the all-out pressure of his earlier days. This suggests that while Crawford faces a physical test, Canelo's own decline in certain areas somewhat levels the playing field. If Crawford brings his best, sharp footwork, elite ring IQ, and stamina, he certainly has a path to victory.
For Canelo, obviously at 168, he has been a bit of the smaller man at that weight class, and in the last couple of years has had trouble finishing opponents and getting guys out of there like he would have at 160 or 154. So you have a bit of a duality there. Both guys coming into this fight in the, let's say, twilight of their careers, or maybe twilight of their primes, however you want to look at it. Canelo is going to be, I think, 35. Terrence is 38. So you have a similar situation, different paths, and different struggles for both fighters. But when you look at who has to do more in this fight, it's clearly Terrence Crawford, as far as what he's giving up and sacrificing to win this third undisputed championship and to try to beat Canelo, who has only been beat twice in his career, one of which was Floyd Mayweather being slick and tagging Canelo with counter punches when Canelo missed, being the smaller, lighter fighter and up there in age that was still able to take advantage of the youth and experience of Canelo Alvarez, but also just being a defensive maestro and able to counter off of that. Floyd is one of one. And then you have Dimitri Bivol, who was the bigger fighter, and the things that Canelo does very well didn't really hurt him too bad, right? The things that had carried Canelo up in division was his power and the ability to break an opponent down, maybe not stopping them in the early to mid part of fight.
Young and rising boxing talent Abdullah Mason expressed confidence in Crawford, predicting not just a win, but a shocking one for many spectators. He emphasized that Crawford's power, often underestimated, could catch the world by surprise. The general narrative has centered around Canelo being the stronger fighter due to size. But Mason's insight flips that idea, suggesting Crawford's ability to generate power through timing, angles, and precision might be even more impactful. If Crawford can connect cleanly and often, especially in the later rounds, Mason's prediction could become reality.
I'll say Canelo Crawford, your prediction quickly.
Canelo Crawford. I got faith that Crawford could take it. I got faith in Crawford. I feel like Crawford, he might surprise some people with his strength. So it all depends on who's the better fighter that night.
Dimitri Bivol, the man who handed Canelo a recent loss, offered high praise for Terence Crawford. Having seen Crawford up close, Bivol noted that Terence has bulked up impressively and has the necessary skill set to win this fight. Bivol's opinion carries weight. He understands what it takes to beat Canelo and believes Crawford has that potential. He stressed Crawford's discipline, speed, and intelligence as key assets. When someone of Bill's caliber backs a fighter, it signals that this contest is far more competitive than it may appear on paper.
Him in Dubai maybe a month ago, I saw him. He's big, and he has very good skills. He's one of my favorite boxers. He able to win this fight, but there is a lot of but, and even not but. There is a lot of things, small things, which we don't know how he will deal with this. He need to get used to the power and pressure of 168. Because it's big difference, to be honest. Maybe he will get used to it, and how he will be feeling himself at the same day when he will fighting, how his training camp will go on, a lot of things. But he's able, he has good skills, he's awkward, he can use two boxing stance. It gives him benefits, of course.
I was at that same event in Dubai just before Christmas, and I saw him too, and I thought exactly the same thing, which is that he is quite big.
Yeah.
Size obviously is important. Jamel Charlo stepped up from super welterweight to super middleweight to box Canelo, and it didn't work at all for him. But Crawford is, I mean, he's one of the best fighters in the world, isn't he? I mean, obviously
Keith Thurman offered a nuanced take on this showdown. He acknowledged that while the fight may seem even to casual viewers, deeper technical analysis reveals important imbalances. Citing Canelo's recent bout with Gerald Charlo, Thurman pointed out how Canelo struggled when Charlo used movement and footwork intelligently. Despite being the aggressor, Canelo couldn't effectively cut the ring or land with authority once Charlo started utilizing ring IQ. Thurman used this to suggest that Crawford, who is even more cerebral and strategic than Charlo, could create similar and perhaps greater difficulties for Canelo.
And, you know, we ain't getting punched in the face, so let's just watch the show and enjoy, people. You know what I'm saying? Let's just watch what these champions do. No matter what they do, they're both great. They're both going to continue to be great, but by the end of the day, one will be above the other. Your eyes? It's not like, I think a lot of people are going to lean towards Canelo. I don't want to say it's like, I feel like for the fans, it's coming off 50-50. Like it's hard for me to really commit, because this is what happened, right? When Canelo just fought the Charlo, right? When he just fought Charlo, he knocked Charlo down. But after he knocked Charlo down and Charlo was using ring movement, he never hit Charlo with another big shot, okay? This is what Keith Thurman is watching. I'm not saying like, oh, Canelo didn't do good. Like, Canelo dominated. That fight he dominated, right? But let's just pay attention to little details, right? After he got dropped, he never got hurt again. Why, you ask? Why did Canelo not hurt him again? Oh, because he was on his bike, because he was using lateral movement, because he was watching with his eyes, and because he was being, you know, attentive with his defense, and he was able to make Canelo miss, but he was not able to make him pay.
That's it for today's video. Stay tuned. Until next,